And we will be starting behind the safety car then. We will having a start behind the safety car. So a failure with the starting lights. We will be starting behind
and here comes the safety car, weaving its way through the field.
Yep, and so presumably the first lap will count as the first lap. So it's got to be careful because it is a tight old grid for the
narrow Qualcomm safety car based on the BMW i8 electric vehicle.
It shows you how small a Formula E car is when you see that the BMW i8 in
that's not a big car.
It's not a big car.
So away we go then, and a slightly anticlimactic start to the second race of the season. The green flag waved.
Turn 1 will be a lot safer than it would have been.
Yes.
Great point.
Actually, some of the drivers, I'm sure, especially the guys near the back, are thinking, whew, okay.
Well, it's sort of the one or the other. If you're Buemi, you wanted a bit of chaos at the start, potentially, to people to get into trouble. But if you were De Grassi in 12th place, I mean, that is peak getting crashed into territory.
Now, Lotterer said, I think it was Lotterer said, he had never experienced anything like yesterday's first lap.
Really?
The amount of contact and just how close everything happened.
So the cars pull away behind the safety car for the first of 45 laps of racing. And the safety car will naturally be coming in this lap. So, I mean, what an eventful weekend. We've had a red flag yesterday for the first time in Formula E history. A start behind the safety car today for the first time in Formula E history. Obviously, the safety car will be coming in this lap.
The safety car lights off. It's going into turn 6. The safety car line, where the guys can start accelerating, is going into turn 9. Expect Felix Rosenqvist to go as early as he possibly can to try and catch the guys behind him just a little bit asleep.
It really does change the driver's thinking, I'm sure, if you're going from a standing start, side by side, as it were, to a rolling start behind a safety car in single file.
Absolutely, it's a completely different technique. And you'll be watching his mirrors as well as trying to build temperature in the tyres and the brakes at the moment as he gets everything into its operating temperature. But all he's thinking about is, I'm going to catch that guy behind by surprise.
Is Felix Rosenqvist going to be delighted? His big concern was turn 1. That's what he said on the grid to, I can't remember if it was you or Nicky, but he said that was his big concern and possibly not anymore.
Okay, get ready. He's at the next corner. I think you'll see him start to go, and he's off. He's gone. He's gone.
So the safety car pulls in and Felix Rosenqvist starts the second round of the FIA Formula E Championship as we go green in Hong Kong once again, through the final corner, out onto Longwo Road. Who has got the best start and who is going to know where to brake on the run down towards the first corner? Here comes Rosenqvist. He's lost it! Rosenqvist spins at turn 1. He's spinned it at Tamar Park and he's dropping right down the order. He collides with Nelson Piquet, and that means Eduardo Mortara is into the lead of the race.
And does De Grassi have damage? There was contact. Locked the rears going into turn 1, Jack. Brown she went, and he couldn't go because the field was funneling through.
Mortara leads, Apt in second. Here is Rosenqvist side by side with Luca Felipe.
I just body checked him into the fence.
Contact, and I think Felipe's in trouble. He's going to struggle to get out of the wall there. We'll have to activate reverse and come back. And there's Jerome D'Ambrosio looking feisty up the inside of Andre Lotterer. This is Nick Heidfeld, meanwhile, who is all of a sudden, where on earth is Heidfeld in the order 14th position? What a chaotic start. If we thought that the safety car start would be the best thing for Felix Rosenqvist,
no, he just went too deep into turn 1. I don't know if there's some issue with the regeneration, the brake balance moving around, and the car just did that slow, horrible pirouette, and round it went, and then he was stuck. He couldn't go because of the field, and then he sort of basically forced his way in there and caused a bit of a crash. Buemi still last in the field.
Yep, apart from Luca Filippi, who ended up in the wall. We go on board with Sebastian Buemi now as they come out on to start lap 3. He's going to try and go past Neil Jani up the inside down into turn 1. A fairly straightforward manoeuvre, that one, for Sebastian Buemi.
Look how much lock he's trying to get in because he's on a tighter trajectory around that corner now, and he can almost not get enough lock in to get the car around there. And those guys race against each other, you know, year in, year out in the World Endurance Championship too.
Sam Bird's made 3 places there in the DS Virgin car. He's already up into 10th position, is the man from Roehampton. And Eduardo Mortara, it is, leading the way in only his second Formula E race, ahead of Daniel Abt in second place, Mitch Evans in third in the Jaguar. 4th is Alex Lynn in the other DS Virgin car. 5th, Antonio Felix da Costa. Bird looking very racy behind Nico Prost.
He's already got that look of he's going to make a move into turn 1, hasn't he? He's going to try the overtake into turn 1. He's just watch how much earlier he can turn into the corner. He's right there with him. If I'm Daniel Abt, though, I'm feeling good about this because the Venturi, I don't think it's got the efficiency of the of the Audi behind it.
Here comes the blue Renault down to turn 1, and there goes Da Costa past Alex Lynn. Antonio Felix Da Costa up into 4th position. Sam Bird wasn't close enough to make the move, and now he's going to be under pressure from Jean-Eric Verne. Jean-Eric Verne on board with him here in the black and gold Tachita, coming up to the right-hander at turn 2, which is by Hong Kong Station, and Verne very early on the brakes that time around.
Alex Lynn gave Verne some of his own medicine from yesterday, because he was doing that exact same thing to Nick Heidfeld lap after lap.
So we're on lap 4 of 45 here in the FIA Formula E Championship. The all-electric single-seaters racing around the streets of Hong Kong. Mortara leads for Venturi. There goes Sam Bird up the inside into turn 6, hairpin, just as he did yesterday to take the lead. This time it is only for 9th place over Nico Prost. Pit stop wise, you're looking at lap 22 or 23 probably, with a safety car start. That means you're sort of 1 lap down on the energy you've got to consume. Around lap 22 or 23 they'll come into the pits and swap into their second cars, lap 5 of 45.
Sam Bird, P9. Yep, just got to start marching his way through the field car by car, but it's not easy, as has Rosenqvist from a lot further back.
Yep, Rosenqvist, where has he ended up then? 11th place, so not a disaster for Rosenqvist. Look at Daniel Abt, 2nd place in that white Audi. He is 25 today, and what a way that would be to celebrate with 25 points. Here goes Rosenqvist. He had such an advantage. He was miles ahead of Mortara.
I don't know what he was thinking. Did he miss his braking point? But you can see he can't get going here, and now he's seen the gap, and he's just driven basically into Nelson Piquet.
Well, I think Piquet was going up the inside of 2 cars at the same time, so I don't think that helped matters down at the first corner. Here we go, on board with Rosenqvist, and watch those rear tyres.
There you go.
There, just see him stop.
Immediately, he tried to brake really late though.
And this is a look at Luca Filippi, and Rosenqvist was up the inside there.
But then he locked the rears, and that sort of punted Luca into the wall.
Oh, and Nick Heidfeld has got into trouble. He's carried on. He stopped and then carried on. He started down the order, did Nick Heidfeld, in 10th place, but he's going to be right at the back of the pack now there, the German former Formula 1 driver from Mönchengladbach.
Similar to what happened to Sebastian Buemi in yesterday's race. The car rolls to a stop, recycle the electronics. Don't know whether it's a BMS or battery management system problem, such as Buemi had, but back underway once again. So the order is Mortara, Abt, Evans, Da Costa, Lynn, Verne, Turvey, Piquet, Bird, and Prost, the top 10. And the fan boost results are now official. Kamui Kobayashi completes the weekend sweep fan boost, both yesterday and today. The same for Luca Filippi and for Daniel Abt, running in 2nd place. That could come in very handy as he tries to deal with Mortara.
So those guys all get a power boost in their 2nd car once they've made their pit stop to try and attack or defend. Joshua Birch has pointed out, Season 1, London Race 1 was the safety car start because of the bump that was at the first corner there in Battersea Park. So that wasn't the first ever Formula E safety car start. Thank you for that, Joshua.
Buemi has just turned the fastest lap of the race. Yeah. He's going to have to do a few more of those if he wants to get in contention.
So here they come down towards turn 2 at Hong Kong Station. There is the available energy. There's Nelson Piquet round the outside of Turvey. He's going to run out of room there. And also Alex Lynn going in deep because he's under pressure. Mortara, you can see, as Rosenqvist goes up the inside now of Nico Prost. So he's got the job done going into the man-po chicane. And that is Rosenqvist now up into 10th position. And Prost now is in front of Lucas de Grassi. Buemi, meanwhile, has got up to 16th.
De Grassi was almost pushing Nico Prost through that corner. The nose of that Formula E car was firmly on the gearbox of the Renault in front of him.
So Mortara leading the way. Now, when we saw that energy remaining a couple of moments ago, Mortara had more energy remaining than Daniel Abt. Here, look, he's got 73, 72%, 2% more than Abt and Evans. So that Venturi is looking pretty strong.
This man's excited about something in the grandstand.
I think he's just seen the usable energy remaining, and it's astonishing.
That is really incredible. I mean, there's nobody in the field with more.
Yeah, impressive stuff from Eduardo Mortara.
He's a bit of a starless boy.
Actually, the only man with more is Felix Rosenqvist, who started on pole and is down in 10th position, but he probably got a lot of regeneration from the brakes after spinning.
Actually, he's got less now. I was right.
Okay, you were right.
Finally, the first time ever.
Lap 8 of 45 in the Hong Kong ePrix, and there is Maro Engel right towards the back. This is Nelson Piquet up ahead of Sam Bird in their battle, and that's now Jean-Eric Verne in 6th position, trying to chase down Alex Lynn in front. We go on board with Jean-Eric, former Toro Rosso Formula 1 driver, as he comes through the tricky right-hander at turn 9 at the roundabout, and then accelerates out onto Longwo Road again to start his 9th lap of 45.
On board, you're going to see he's going to start to lift out here, lifting and coasting. All that means is he's taken off, he's not accelerating down the straight, but he's braking later because of it, carrying more speed in and through the corner. So it's not like a fuel run, it's not like you're just driving down the motorway. They swap straight line speed for corner entry and mid-corner speed. It's really difficult to do, and you have to have the car handling very well.
Look, he's on full throttle there on the left-hand side, but then he comes off it before he gets on the brakes, so he's got that period where he's not doing either.
And then he regens. He uses probably a regen paddle on the steering wheel to basically reverse the motor and put energy back into the battery.
So there's a look at who's made the most gains.
Sam Bird having a problem?
Oh yes, I think it is.
Yes,
and
it is.
He's pulling over to the side for Neo. Sam Bird, as you can see on the graphics, has made 4 places up. Felipe
7 laps down.
has now. Oh yes,
yeah.
He's 7 laps down. No, I think he's 1 lap down. Sorry, but that's him going a lap down. He's completed 7 laps. Mortara's completed 8 laps. Buemi's made up 5 places now. He's up to 15th spot. It's points for the top 10, 25 points for the winner, down to 1 point for 10th position. And Eduardo Mortara is now 1.3 seconds clear of Daniel Abt up at the front. This is Oliver Turvey, the man from Penrith, and he is running in 7th position at the moment. Rosenqvist, look at how close he is to the back of Sam Bird in their battle over 9th place. But here is Eduardo Mortara.
1.2 seconds up the road. That's about the perfect gap, I would say, Jack. You don't want to go any further ahead than that because you don't want to use the energy in case there's a safety car, because then you've got to do it all again. But stay out of striking range, shall we call it. Straight out, so the guy cannot make a lunge at you at some point. And that's about the perfect job. And he's just clicking off laps here, and he's got himself into a good rhythm, and you're seeing the result.
30 years of age, born in Geneva, the Swiss racer. He has won 7 times at the Macau Grand Prix circuit, just a 70-minute boat ride over the South China Sea, and he has been incredibly impressive in what is only his 2nd ever Formula E race. And that team Venturi that he's driving for, a Monegasque company and builder of electric cars, have never won a race in Formula E, so that would be big news for them.
And they pretty much held up the bottom of the table last season. They made massive gains. Fantastic job over the winter, or over the gap, shall we call it.
So lap 11 of 45, and it is Eduardo Mortara for Venturi who's leading the way. Where are the closest battles on the circuit? Here's one of them, Antonio Felix da Costa, under big pressure from Alex Lynn over 4th place.
Did you see that the whole way down the straight? He's just looking in that mirror, waiting to see if Alex Lynn's going to try and make a move when he is lifting and coasting, when da Costa is lifting and coasting. And that's part of the art of Formula E racing, with Jean-Eric Verne, one of the most aggressive drivers in the field, in the gold and black Techeetah car, is just waiting to pounce.
Mitch Evans in 3rd place in the Jaguar, having a fairly lonely race at the moment. There is Lucas de Grassi, who's still stuck behind Nico Prost in their squabble over 11th, but Evans is 2.6 seconds behind the lead battle, 1.5 seconds ahead of da Costa. So, yeah, not really making much progress.
Well, he's in that position, though, of what can he do? Because he can use more energy to try and catch up, but then he's going to have to, it's like you're going to pay tax at some point. He's going to have to do that. He's going to have to manage the energy, and that's all he can do. He's going as quickly as he possibly can. And they're just driving away, bit by bit, lap by lap. Look how close de Grassi got coming into turn 1, but you see them as they accelerate away. He's a fraction of a second slower on the throttle, and he disappears off down the road.
So here comes the Abt of de Grassi trying to get around the outside, and here is the Mahindra, and that is Rosenqvist.
And he's got
past Sam Bird, hasn't he? Yes, so he's got through into
yesterday's
8th
winner.
place.
He's passed yesterday's winner.
So he's doing a good job here of climbing up the order.
Like, probably thinking, if I don't, Dilbag Gill's going to have a serious word with me after making that mistake at turn 1.
So Sam Bird there, down into 9th place. Felix Rosenqvist there, the Swedish driver, in 8th position at the moment. Fans watch on, that's a great vantage point, isn't it?
Look at the focus.
Yeah.
Mesmerised by the cars, I know that feeling. See how close Rosenqvist got to the wall, again using every inch of the track, every centimetre.
Not driving
13 and
perhaps.
45.
A little bit of anger in the driving of Felix Rosenqvist right now after that mistake. Coming into the season saying they wanted to reduce mistakes. That would be the key to a possible championship. But a brutal day yesterday. Now today, throwing it all away in the first corner.
So here's the usable energy remaining. Mortara is going to end up doing another lap here. I genuinely think Mortara is going to end up doing another lap.
No, so I've now got energies. So Rosenqvist has 4% more than you, and Turvey 3% more than you.
Bird's in trouble energy-wise.
Yeah.
Not in trouble, but he's not nearly as good as the guys in front of. Rosenqvist has gone past and has got 4% more energy. That's just very impressive by Rosenqvist. Also shows that teams are looking at the broadcast to get their energy figures, because they do not have energy figures from their own car, and they rely on the driver reporting back the numbers. With the radio problems we experienced yesterday for most of the field, that's where some of the confusion came from.
And as you heard there from Mike Lugg, Sam Bird's race engineer, he said, oh, I've got the energy now, and that's because we put them up on the screen. So it's about 4.5% a lap of energy around here. So that's why I say Mortara, with 4% more at the moment than Daniel Abt in second place, should be able to do another lap. And the benefit that gives you is you're able to go faster in your second car. On board we go with Lucas de Grassi, battling Nico Prost for 8th place.
Now, Lucas de Grassi yesterday made that mistake of going to the outside. Is that close enough for you, by the way?
10th place, my apologies, it's Prost in 10th.
He made the move of going to the outside of his teammate, and that caused some of the damage that ended up ending his team.
Here he
goes for the move!
Up
Beautiful!
Up the inside into the hairpin.
Caught him unawares there, Jack. Caught him napping. And he's heading off. He's got to head down and go.
Nothing Prost could do about that one. Alan McNish at the far end, the team principal of the Audi Sport Abt Schaeffler team.
At 4% more energy than Nico Prost.
Yeah, so that is going to be. So looking at it now, Mortara, Da Costa, maybe Rosenqvist and Lucas de Grassi and Mauro Engel. They're the drivers who I'm expecting to go a lap longer in this ePrix compared to the others. That means they can push harder in the second car. They'll have to do less energy saving in the second half of the race. So if Mortara can come out in the lead a lap later, he's looking set.
He's looking very good. Now Rosenqvist is on the gearbox of Oliver Turvey already. Just closed that gap straight away. They've got about the same amount of energy, but he's right there.
Buemi's still in 15th. Hasn't been able to get past Nelson Piquet, who lost 7 seconds in the final sector. Seemed to just lose power and then carried on again. Here we go. There's the heart rate of Alain Prost, 70 BPM. That's not bad.
Yeah, he's one fit dude. I mean, he is seriously fit. So that's actually probably quite high for him.
He weighs less now than he did when he was racing.
Yeah. It's because he's designed for climbing. When they got him and Nico go out climbing on the bikes, he likes to put a hurting on his son. So he has to be as fit as possible. He's a very driven man, and you could tell today this is painful for him to see those Renault cars not at the front.
Lucas de Grassi on that last lap, the second fastest man on the whole track. Now he has got past.
Working lap number 16. And the story of this race thus far has to be Eduardo Mortara, racing for the Venturi team, as Jack pointed out earlier, based in Monaco. They've been in every Formula One race ever held, with just 1 pole, no victories, and only 2 podiums. They hold all sorts of land speed records for electric cars, but here their young and rookie driver, Eduardo Mortara, has taken them right to the front with some help from pole sitter Felix Rosenqvist, who spun himself out of the lead on the first hot lap of the race.
Yep, the race started behind the safety car, and Rosenqvist binned it, and he's now back into 8th position, right on the tail of Englishman Oliver Turvey. And following him is Sam Bird in the other DS version car. His teammate Alex Lin's up in 5th place at the moment. Very close, but from Da Costa back to Lin and then back to Vern.
Yeah, all those places are in play. I think you can see Rosenqvist.
Look how late on the brakes he is.
Yeah, all those places though, he can get them.
Yeah,
definitely get that done. To get to Evans right now, that would be a bit of a stretch, I think. But the other ones are there for the taking, with 29 laps to go. On board with Felix Rosenqvist. Is he going to be close enough this time? Yes, he is for Turvey.
Oh, just about makes it through. It looked as though he was trying to get as close to Turvey as possible, and almost a little too close. There was a bump there last year. I don't know if he was trying to avoid the bump, but it's a bit close. 7th place now then for Felix Rosenqvist. The Swede making his way up the order. Turvey would just be happy to finish because he was running third in the early stages yesterday, and the car let him down. But I think some solid points for Turvey, and he'd be pretty satisfied.
Now, the Techeetah of Jean-Eric Vergne is the next car up the road for Felix Rosenqvist. And as we saw yesterday, he's not an easy man to pass.
So here's a look at that move from Felix Rosenqvist up the inside of Oliver Turvey. Turvey, to be fair, shuffled over a little bit, just to give him a bit of a scare, but I think he's aware that Rosenqvist has the pace advantage over him. This was Nelson Piquet losing out to Sebastian Buemi. So Piquet in the Jaguar falling behind Sebastian Buemi. Mitch Evans, Piquet's teammate, is up in third place. So Nelson not having the best of days for the Jaguar team.
The way he's going to handle that, Nelson, he's got to kind of mentally, he's got to be careful. If he starts to get his head down a bit because his teammates doing such a good job and he's maybe struggling a little bit, that could unwind the season pretty quickly. But and the relationships in the teams, got to be careful for that. See, Andre Lotterer ahead of Buemi, he's the next car down the road. Lotterer got 4 penalties yesterday. Yeah. Eventually it disqualified him. Cutting the chicane twice. I think eventually he left the car in the wrong position in switches in pit lane, and they disqualified him. It was a baptism of fire for him.
That 19:45. Eduardo Mortara, that was leading the way. This is now Jean-Eric Vergne under pressure from Felix Rosenqvist. Look, again, I know you get the concertina effect under braking, but Rosenqvist is extreme.
If you talk to the pit lane, one of the key areas that they've made progress over the gap over season 3 to 4 is in the braking, and I think that's where the Dragon guys are struggling as well. You watch how late the cars can brake now. You see the fact the brake discs are glowing. We did not see that in season 1 or 2 or 3.
There's Eduardo Mortara. He is the man leading the way in his Venturi. The 30-year-old Swiss racer, and he has got a 2.5 second lead now over the second place man of Daniel Abt, who is in the Audi that many fancied to be the fastest car out there. But Daniel Abt on his 25th birthday doing a good job in second place. A podium may be a solid result, but how he would love to take his first Formula E win on his birthday. And then behind him is the Jaguar of Mitch Evans, who's not even in camera shot as Daniel Abt comes down into the hairpin. Mitch Evans a further 6 seconds back. There he is, and he's actually only 9/10 ahead of Antonio Felix da Costa behind, but this would be Jaguar's best ever result. They've never had a podium in Formula E.
It's a bit closer than 9/10 now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's, Mitch Evans has got to be worrying about that. Now he's got to try and drive forwards, so can't be focusing on his mirrors too much until da Costa gets within striking range. Did you see how precise Mortara was with his inputs into the wheel of the car? Just how confident he is with it. He's on top of it already in only his second Formula E race.
That's 20:45. That's Antonio Felix da Costa in 4th place for the Andretti team. Has won a race before in season 1 for the Aguri team in Buenos Aires. Was running well the next year there for the Aguri team before his car broke down. But I'd say this is probably the most sort of confident front-running performance we've seen from da Costa, because he won Buenos Aires, he led a quarter of a lap.
Season 3 was a bit of a nightmare for the Andretti team, and certainly for the drivers. This looks a lot better, doesn't it? Even from first practice yesterday morning, I think they surprised themselves with the pace, with what they were able to achieve, and then the race just confirmed that.
Now Mortara's usable energy is dropping away, as very deep there goes Sebastian Buemi, but Mortara, look, he's on 14% now, as opposed to Daniel Abt in 13%, so they've decided not to go for another lap, I think. Antonio Felix da Costa in 4th place, 17%. It looks now as only da Costa and de Grassi are going to stop a lap later. I wonder if Buemi's going to stop a lap earlier. I wonder if they're thinking, we'll pit Buemi. Here's a look at him running wide at turn 1, locking up the right front.
Himself, didn't he? Yeah, just braked a bit too late. There's a part of a car that he managed to avoid, and off he goes.
I wonder if they're thinking, pit him a lap earlier, clear air, absolutely nail it for a lap or two,
and then start holding up. Yeah,
hold up and try and get track position, because as we know on a street circuit, track position is key. So I think Mortara there, no, that's Maro Engel, but Mortara, no, it is Mortara, my apologies. So
yeah, it's Heidfeld ahead of him.
I think Heidfeld in front, but I think he had more usable energy, did a good job, and has now pushed, and as a result the gap is up to 3 seconds now.
as he approaches the pit stop, they're probably just thinking, right, maximum attack. Now, Heidfeld here needs to get out of the way. As a lapped car, don't interfere with the result, get out of the way, and he's not appearing to do that right now. That's not very cool.
So hopefully now Heidfeld will pull to the side. Whether
he probably doesn't think that's the leader. He sees a Venturi behind him, and he thinks, I mean, with the greatest respect, when have when have we seen this kind of performance? We've seen qualifying performances, but a race performance like this from Venturi, fantastic to see.
I think Heidfeld led a lap for Venturi in season 1. He almost won the race in the first race in Formula E history. But yeah, he needs to get out of the way, that's for sure.
Okay, he's gone a bit quicker now, but he's held him up for the best part of 4 corners.
Box, please. Box, box, box.
There we go, into the pits on this lap, please, Eduardo Mortara. That is the message. There's Luca Filippi, who had to pit because of a broken track rod, and so he's now out in his second car, and his race is pretty much over. So Mortara coming on this lap. So Lin's holding off as well, actually.
Buemi's in the pits.
So Buemi does pit a lap earlier than anyone else. In comes the man who started at the back of the pack, turns into the right-hander, into his garage, and now he does the driver change. Minimum pit stop time, 37 seconds.
And that's tight, Jack. That's not an easy thing to swap cars, get everything buckled and go again. Plus your sort of 12 seconds of driving through the pit lane. You've got to really attack now. Now he's getting out of the way. Now Heidfeld's getting out of the way. But that puts a lot of pressure on the teams. This is part of this. It's a team sport. Every one of those mechanics is plugging that driver into the car. Cannot afford a mistake. And Mortara's in the pits.
In comes Mortara now.
50 kilometers an hour. See him on. Has he undone the belts, or is he just slacking them off? That could be a penalty if it's the former.
Daniel Abt comes in too. Now, will Mortara's car fire up? That is the trouble that you tend to have in the pits. Is the trouble this man Daniel Abt had yesterday when he got into his second car. It wouldn't get going, and that he lost 20 seconds about. There's Mitch Evans in third place, so they are all in. And that means that Da Costa and Lin have stayed out for another lap. Is Mortara going to fire away? Yes, there he goes. Is he going to go back into the lead of the race, keeping out on the right-hand side? Daniel Abt pops out of the garage now, pretty slowly actually, and rejoins the race.
Just doesn't want to beat that clock, does he? 37.6. That's why he left slowly, Jack.
Yeah, absolutely. There's Nelson Piquet changing his car. And then out goes Felix Rosenqvist. Is he in front of Mitch Evans?
Let's see what the...
Yes, Evans lost so much time in the pits. Mitch Evans lost 5 seconds in the pits. It was 41.9, so that's 5 seconds in the pits lost for Mitch Evans. And Felix Rosenqvist, locking up at turn 1 as he likes to do, has come out in front. So that podium for Jaguar could be slipping away. There goes Sebastian Buemi up the inside of Andre Lotterer, meanwhile, for 13th place at the moment. But we've still got Da Costa and Lin to come into the pits now.
Costa's in, yeah, and there's Lin.
So we'll see where they emerge, how swift their pit stops are. Eduardo Mortara should resume in the lead of the race. Where has Buemi come out in it all as well? And there's just slowing. Lucas Di Grassi. Lucas Di Grassi pulls over at the side of the circuit. And
he's trying to go a lap too far, Jack.
Well, we're not getting any power readings from him. He rejoins now in front of Oliver Turvey. Not quite sure what happened there for Di Grassi.
He hadn't pitted. He had not pitted.
No, so he hasn't made it to the pits yet, and it looks as though the reigning champion could end up with a pointless weekend in Hong Kong. He comes into the pits now, Di Grassi, ahead of Oliver Turvey, and that is a disaster for the reigning champion.
What is going on? Between him and Buemi, they've just... one thing after another.
In comes Di Grassi.
Formula E is not predictable.
No, you're absolutely right. So, Felix Rosenqvist is now up into third position. So, Eduardo Mortara leads the way. Just a note, actually, Stefan Sarazan won on the road in London for Venturi, but he crossed the line with no usable energy remaining. So, as a result, he got disqualified from the race results. So, there is the second place. So, there's Mortara. Where's Daniel Abt then? Or is that Nick Heidfeld in the Mahindra behind? Yes, I think that might be. So there's Mortara, our race leader. Then wait for Daniel Abt there. He is in second position for the Audi team.
It's 2 lapped cars between first and second place.
And then third is Felix Rosenqvist for Mahindra. So despite that spin at the start, he's managed to climb back up the field.
See Kobayashi locking up into turn 1 from quite a way back. One of the great things about this Michelin tyre that they use, not only can it be used in the wet and the dry, but when you lock it up, it doesn't flat spot nearly as easily as a slick tyre, which is very handy, judging by all the lockups we tend to see.
Lap 26 of 45 now. Alex Lynn is in 5th place. Antonio Felix da Costa, 14th. What happened to da Costa in the pits? 57 seconds for the Andretti team in the pit lane. That is, what, 20 seconds slower than it should have been. And da Costa was up in 4th place.
They had a problem yesterday, Jack.
Yeah.
And the transmitter did not register when they entered pit lane, so they didn't know how long they had to execute everything.
Okay.
I wonder if it's the same thing today.
But they wouldn't have left a 20-second sort of buffer, would they? You know? I think that's the frustration there as they come down towards turn 1 then. And we are on board further back in the pack as we get on the brakes. Into the hairpin at turn 1 as they come out of the hairpin, make their way along the Longwo Road again.
And so with the pit stops completed, let's reset the order. There is Eduardo Mortara making a headline here for the Venturi team, followed by Daniel App, 3 cars back. Here comes App. Followed closely by Felix Rosenqvist, Mitch Evans. There's Alex Lynn, Jean-Eric Verne, Sam Bird, Oliver Turvey, Mauro Engel, and Nico Prost round out the top 10. Then Sebastian Buemi right there. Andre Lauderer, Nelson Piquet Jr. will follow.
Sebastian Buemi just 1 place away from picking up a point in the championship, but his teammate it is who is in front of him, and I think we're a little too early in the season really for team orders, to be honest. If this was later in the championship, Prost would probably get out of the way in an instant, but Prost has more points.
Yeah, you can't be doing that. Not round 2, Jack. Round 2, 14-round championship.
No, we're absolutely fine. Okay, we've got a 3-second gap, and we have done 1 less lap than the competition. Okay, we've got a 3-second gap, and we've got 1 less lap than the competition.
So that's Eduardo Mortara on the team radio being told it's fine. With 3 seconds in the lead, we got more energy than everyone behind. Happy days.
Got to be very comforting to hear.
That's a word for it. I mean, that's the... You kind of stress it, especially when you're new to a formula. You're thinking, hang on, what's going on? What am I missing? You're waiting for that
Everyone told me it would be difficult.
Yeah, there's that meteor that's going to come out of the sky. You're thinking, okay, where's it coming from? It can't be this easy. And he's just lap after lap. I'm not going to say it because I don't want a commentator's curse the guy.
17th place now then for Lucas Di Grassi, the reigning champion, after picking up 0 points yesterday. Sebastian Buemi, the Season 2 champion, is in 11th place, having picked up no points yesterday. Nelson Piquet, the Season 1 champion, is in 13th place, having picked up 12 points yesterday. So a 4th place for Nelson.
Fabulous job yesterday. Yeah, Jaguar's best finish. Really great to see that. Different performance from last year, different car, and they're very happy with it.
Mitch Evans looking to match it with a 4th place at the moment, but Alex Lynn behind Mitch Evans has a lot more usable energy, albeit 2 seconds back from the Kiwi. So that battle over 4th place is one that is going to brew, because Jean-Eric Verne is behind Alex Lynn. So you've got these 3 drivers battling over 4th place. There is Lynn, there is Verne, and then there is Bird behind in 7th place. 8th is Oliver Turvey, having a solid, if quiet, run for the Neo team. Engel in 9th, Nico Prost completing the top 10. But Buemi, you'll see, because he pitted a lap earlier, only has 71% of usable energy remaining, which is less than all the other folks. So Mortara bossing the way in this 2nd round of the season.
Now we're seeing Jean-Eric Verne just going to get a little bit closer to Alex Lynn. It's unusual to see Jev in attack mode. We've seen him in sort of defensive mode. His qualifying has been better than in his races, but it's interesting to see him start to try to move forward. But then he's got Sam Bird looking behind him, so he's going to have to attack in the front end, not allow a gap for Sam Bird to make one of those lunges that Sam does quite so well.
There is Alex Lynn, making his way through turn 2, past Hong Kong Station. Mitch Evans there, and the man that he's trying to chase down into Jaguar. Then Turvey. Engel is a lap down. No, he's not. He's in 9th place, sorry. And then Prost, and then Buemi. Good job from Mauro Engel, because he had a pretty poor qualifying and started 15th, so now to be up in 9th place is reasonable from the German.
You know, and you see them go through that 3-4 chicane and you realise that street course racing, it's a rhythm thing. You've got to get into a rhythm with it because there's all different surfaces, there's bumps, the walls are right there, there's no runoff area, there's no room for mistakes. You get into that rhythm though, and that's your friend. That's the way to go fast, is get into a nice rhythm with it. But then these guys have got to save energy too and continually change their technique depending on what they have to do on energy saving. So it's a very difficult job these guys are all doing, some clearly better than others.
This was Lucas de Grassi making the move on Neil Jani coming into Tamar Park, the hairpin right-hander at turn 1. Job done.
Look how much later he can brake in that Audi. Not even lock up, not really a hint of a lock up. It shows you the performance, and I think that's, I've said before, I think that's the area that they're making the most gains, all these teams this year.
So most of the field, 6 seconds, maybe 1 second between each car. 13 seconds Dragon Racing are off the rest of the pack. The only other people around and with them are drivers that had trouble here and there around the circuit. Now, is Mortara just in front of Rosenquist here?
That's Heidfeld.
That's Heidfeld. That's Heidfeld. Okay, it's fine.
Heidfeld, yeah.
Fine. They've both got black helmets. They both got black helmets.
Yeah,
now.
no, I would be nervous though. If I'm Mortara,
around.
get out, you know, get back a bit, old son. Stop, you know, you're
Oh,
down. Stop.
He doesn't know. He's doing what I'm doing. He thinks it's Rosenquist.
Well, he might, but you know, Heidfeld needs to stop. I'm trying to be polite about this. You know, you're a lap down, old son.
What, you can unlap yourself, can't you?
Yeah, okay, what are you going to do with that? But he's interfering with it, you know, the race leader. If he knocks him off, I think there's going to be a bit of a chat.
Well, we've got both their team radios open. If either of them get in contact, work around the skyscrapers of Hong Kong, or if either of them get in contact with each other. And so Eduardo Mortara leading the way. The car behind is Nick Heidfeld, who is a lap down, but just wants to unlap himself.
The interesting thing about Heidfeld is
Okay. Heidfeld behind you is not for position. Car behind you is not for position.
Heidfeld is catching him through the bits, the straight bits, where Mortara is saving energy, but round the twisty bits, Mortara is able to pull away.
Why are you telling me this now, Mr. Watson?
Why are you telling me this now?
Just for clarity, continue like that. Drive to target, please.
Ah,
There's a bit missing on Nick
Heidfeld's
Heidfeld's car.
yeah. And I think that came off in the first lap because Buemi almost hit that.
Number 23, because he's a big Michael Jordan fan. And he wore number 23. And that's why David Beckham, I think, took number 23 when he moved to Real Madrid as well.
Things you learn.
Did you have a favourite car number?
I started 27, then 10, and then I had 50 for one race at the 500, which I didn't want, then we won the race, so I was quite partial to it after that.
Okay, so that
Yeah. Daniel Ab, P2, 3.5 seconds back though.
Yep. Not
Compare
quite.
his performance to de Grassi, his teammate.
Yeah.
Daniel, new Audi Works driver, stepped up to the plate, hasn't he?
Well, Daniel is going to end the weekend with 23 points on the board. And,
Hopefully.
Well, yes, and Lucas de Grassi looks as though he's going to end it with none down in 16th place. If you're Heidfeld, actually, the reason Heidfeld wants to get past Mortara is he's then on the lead lap. If we get a safety car, he joins the back of the pack rather than still being stuck a lap down. That's the one reason that Heidfeld would have.
Understandable, but if you're Mortara, you don't want to let him go in case he then holds you up. And then you've got Daniel Ab bearing down on you. You don't want to put yourself in that position if you can help it. You see Felix Rosenquist just continuing to march forwards. His fastest lap is 4/10 quicker than Daniel Abt ahead of him.
Now here comes Alex Lynn, 5th place. He is only 0.4 of a second behind Mitch Evans. It was 2 seconds a couple of laps ago. Here they come now. The Jaguar there of Mitch Evans just in front of Alex Lynn. The gap was 2 seconds, but Lynn, having gone a lap longer, had more usable energy, and as a result has been able to close in on the Kiwi in front.
And these guys know each other well. They've raced against each other before a lot, so they'll know each other, what sort of moves, how aggressive they each are, and that definitely has a bearing on how each of them drive.
Daniel Abt 0.3 quicker than Mortara on that last lap, but Mortara just managing the gap at 3 seconds as we start lap 35 of 45 here in Hong Kong. This is the battle over 4th place. Mitch Evans in the Jaguar holding it at the moment. And further back you've got Engel, who's now under pressure from Nico Prost. Buemi hasn't really got close to challenge Prost, has he?
Yeah, the two Renaults running 10th and 11th.
Minus 3%, minus 3.
So that's Lynn being told he's got a 3% pace, or energy, I should say, advantage over Mitch Evans in front. Therefore, he can attack a little bit. There is Nico Prost. You see, Buemi never had any collisions, or he pitted a lap earlier, didn't he? So he's
got to be
having
a
to
little
manage his
careful,
energy more than the other guys. Turvey then is by himself, but Bird and Verne are very close together as well. So both of the DS Virgin guys are on a charge. Here, Alex Lynn trying to get 4th place, and then further back, Sam Bird trying to get 6th place. So the Brits are coming.
And you can see the marbles building up on the side of the track. That's something we don't normally see in Formula E. You get on those marbles, it's like ice. You really don't want to be there, because the next thing you'll see is the concrete barrier.
So here we go. Eduardo Mortara's lead has come down to 2.3 seconds. It was 3 seconds a little bit earlier on. Kamui Kobayashi is using his fan boost meanwhile, but he's all by himself out there on the circuit. He's just done the fastest first sector of anyone, so I think he's just trying to push to see how fast he can go.
Give it a squirt, see what it does.
Yeah,
definitely works. That was good.
Exactly, getting used to the car. Lap 36 to 45 then. Mortara leading by 2.3 seconds. Daniel Abt actually has taken half a second out of Mortara in sector 1 alone. So we'll keep an eye on that gap at the front as they swing through the left-hander now, with Mitch Evans leading the way.
Lynn drawing ever closer. You know about Mortara's lead. Daniel Abt trying to close up and making some progress. A little bit quicker the last time by. Great onboard view as they make their way through the hairpin.
And Lynn's going to be trying to, I would say, if he's going to set up Mitch Evans for a pass, I'm not sure turn 2 is the place to do it. He might have to try and surprise him in turn 6 with the performance of that
targets. Try to stick to your targets. We're still pretty close to linear to end as planned. Battery temp is looking okay.
He's going to have to try and surprise him in turn 6, I would say.
Joseph Rocker on the radio there saying, stick to your target. Everything's going as planned. Because the temptation when you're behind is to go, right, I'm going to do the move now. But there's, and that was the temptation.
That's what he needs to do. That's the move. That's going to make that happen. 3%.
Lynn's teammate Sam Bird is 0.3 of a second now behind Jean-Eric Verne. Probably tempted to make the same kind of move.
Actually, Bird's closer to Verne than Lynn is to Evans.
But Jeff's a tough customer. You have to make one move, but you better make sure it sticks, because I think he'll be very, very aggressive in defending that. You could see the back of the screen when they came into turn 1. You could see that battle between Jean-Eric Verne and Stan Bird.
So Verne in the black and gold to Jeter, up in front of Sam Bird in that silver and purple DS Virgin entry. 0.6 of a second between them now.
7.5 laps to go.
Gap at the front came down to, has remained at 2.1 seconds then, so Mortara got the pace back in the following sectors. Sam Bird is hustling here. He knows he wants to keep the lead of this championship. Is he going to go for it into the hairpin?
Didn't even attempt. That's the move he made yesterday to take the lead from Jean-Eric Verne.
You don't want to telegraph to Verne that that's what you're going to do again.
No.
You know, you want to fool him into thinking he's not going to try and do it. Here's Eduardo Mortara. I think so. Sorry. Sorry.
Look at the eyes of Eduardo Mortara through that visor. What a great shot. See the focus. He can't get out of that rhythm we've talked about. You get out of that, you start making mistakes, and you start brushing the barriers, or worse. He's got to stay in that rhythm, got to keep pushing.
That gap over Daniel Abt keeps coming down, and Abt, remember, has the fan boost.
Very true. Dario, you don't want to show your hand in a battle, do you? And let the guy in front of you know where you're going to make the move.
No, you don't. I was just surprised, as close as Sam Bird was, that he didn't attempt that move, you know, because I'm sure Jean-Eric remembers yesterday very, very well, but yeah, he saw him accelerate out of turn 5 and gain on Verne, but he didn't do anything with it. You see on board with Eduardo Mortara going into turn 9, setting up for the long left-hander, giving the wall just a little bit of extra room.
Brake balance?
Brake balance, was that?
Gap still 1.8 seconds.
Very little lift and coast. Did you notice that?
can see the throttle on the right-hand side.
Bit of a delay, I think, with the heads-up display. Again, minimal lift and coast. You hear the tire, you hear that screech as it hits the bump, that chirp, and the tires lock up. It's okay if it does it a little bit, does it a lot, we've seen the result. How tight that chicane is. It was a lot more open last year.
Lap 40 of 45. Mortara leading. There's Daniel Abt in second place. The gap drops down to 1.6 seconds now. So closing in a little, Daniel Abt, but only 6 laps to go. It's going to need to be more dramatic than that if he's to take the win on his birthday.
He's got to risk more, hasn't he? I think he's willing to do it.
Well, if he can keep closing down before he has to use the fan boost to try the pass, might be a good strategy.
Would you use the fan boost to catch the gap or to make the pass?
I'd use it to make the pass.
Personal best from Eduardo Mortara on that last lap. Lap 41 of 45.
Problem is, you use the fan boost to make the pass. He blocks you. You've used your bullet. Whereas if you know, I think you've got to get closer, keep a bit of energy in your pocket.
If you can. Mortara just picked up his pace, so he may have had the same thought.
Yeah, I'm sure they're all trying as hard as they can. That's the thing. We're sitting here sort of talking about these strategies. These guys are leaving nothing on the table. Daniel Abt driving very smoothly though, good technique.
Lap 41 of 45. Eduardo Mortara.
Just start to pull away though, Jack. 3/10 in sector 2.
As they come through the left-hander in the middle of the circuit. Felix Rosenqvist in third. Sometimes the drivers don't opt to use their fan boost because it gives you that power boost, but if you're not close enough, it still comes out of your available energy budget. So you still have the same amount of energy remaining, so you just use more energy going in a straight line at one point, and that is Neil Jarni getting lapped. No troubles in this race for Neil Jarni. No dramas, no contact, no collisions, but he has just been lapped after 42 tours of the circuit.
I think the Dragon guys need a serious rethink. The problem is everything is homologated for the season. All they can really work with is car setup and then the control systems and all that kind of stuff. But the big pieces have been homologated.
But Jerome said he was quite happy after Valencia. They were reasonably fine after Valencia.
Big, smooth, wide circuit.
Yeah.
It's a lot different.
No change in the battles behind. Lynn has not made a move on Evans, nor has Sam Bird on Jean-Eric Verne.
Eduardo Mortara on that last lap did his personal best and pulled the gap out to over 3 seconds now then. So he is absolutely flying out there. Sebastian Buemi still behind Nico Prost in that battle over 10th place. Well, it's not really a battle, it's 2.2 seconds back, and Lotterer is now right behind Buemi 2 in that battle. Antonio Felix da Costa, he'll be gutted to be down in 13th place when he could have been battling for a podium. Here's Eduardo Mortara, 3 laps to go in the second round of the Formula E Championship. Daniel Abt is using his fan boost now.
I was going to say, Mortara made the decision for him. Oh,
he's spun! Mortara has spun down at Hong Kong Station when he looked to be in control of the ePrix. And Daniel Abt now is leading the race on his birthday with just 2.5 laps to go. Mortara's thrown it away. The Venturi team can't believe what they're seeing.
I had a problem with the regen.
He had a problem with the regen. So the regen is what...
Copy that. Continue, please.
Where are we?
Continue.
Where are we?
He wants to know what
P3,
position
P3.
they're in, and he's been told he's in P3, so the regen takes the energy from braking and turns it back into usable energy, and that happens when you're on the brakes, and sometimes that can cause an issue with the braking.
Yeah, it changes the brake balance front to rear of these cars, and they're so sensitive to brake balance. They have adjusters in the car as well. But the regen demands change, and it's literally a massive adjustment for the drivers. If it catches them out, you see the result.
Yeah, the longer you get into the race, the way that the brake balance changes and the amount of regen you have changes. For example, at the start of the race, when the battery's full, you don't have any regen because the battery's full as they get onto the brakes. Now, down into turn 2. There then is Eduardo Mortara. We heard the car squeal and heard the tyres locking. And now Daniel Abt is leading the way. Felix Rosenqvist in second position. It's 3rd place then for Eduardo Mortara. 4th for Mitch Evans. 5th for Alex Lynn.
How crazy is that? Just as Daniel Abt chooses to use the fan boost to try to close the gap, the
Here we
man he's
go,
trying to
on board.
catch.
Oh, the back end just drifts away at turn 1. And he's sitting there trying to get it into gear and trying to fire it up again. And Neil Jani almost comes to join him. And he sees all these cars going past. A lot of them are a lap down. Kamui Kobayashi, for example, a lap down. But what a disaster for Eduardo Mortara.
What a reaction in the Venturi garage.
We're on to the last lap of the race then. And there is Daniel Abt, who is on his final tour. What a phenomenal day this will be for the Audi team if he can hold on to take the victory. Bouncing over the curbs. What a superb, well, what a crazy race from the leader locking up and spinning at the start to the leader locking up and spinning at the end.
You couldn't script it. From one great story to another. Potential rookie victory for Eduardo Mortara and first ever for the Venturi team suddenly goes away, and it's Daniel Abt who is now the headliner, seeking his first win on his birthday for Audi.
Here comes Daniel Abt through the final corner on his 25th birthday to win an ePrix for the first time in Hong Kong. Punches the air.
Well done.
A well done over the radio. Felix Rosenqvist in second across the line. Here comes Eduardo Mortara there, out of the final corner, across the line in third place. What a disappointment for him. High fives all around for Audi.
Happy birthday, my friend! Congratulations! Yeah! Yeah!
And that was Alex Lynn, and
who
someone's
hit
in
the
the wall. Andre Lotterer for Techeetah. It's in the wall right at the end of the race. What is going on back there? Sam Bird in 6th because Alex Lynn ran into trouble and has ended up finishing in 10th place. Buemi in 11th position. Big double-waved yellows at the end. Turvey finishing in 7th place, but what on earth went on at the end of the race as well?
May have been more than one car involved.
So let's see if we can speak to Daniel Abt on the radio. Daniel, it's Jack here in the commentary box. Congratulations, what a race!
Yeah! Fucking hell! This has been way too long.
Well, if you could just mind your language, quite a birthday present for you.
Yeah, what an incredible result. I just gotta say thanks to everyone in the team. We worked so hard the last few months to come here and arrive with such a good car. It's incredible. 25 points for the 25th birthday. Oh, nothing more I could really ask for. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Daniel. Don't swear to Nikki and have a good party tonight.
I try to behave. Thanks.
I don't know whether he means at the party tonight or to Nikki. Apologies, obviously, for that swearing from Daniel Abt, but something tells me he's a little bit excited to win the Hong Kong ePrix.